All right, shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all for being in the post game shot here, man. LSU get the victory. This was a very interesting game, to be honest with you, fam. It's very interesting. Arkansas stayed in the game. LSU secondary, my goodness. That wasn't a good look from what we seen from them tonight in terms of allowing Arkansas to remain in this contest. And I'll just be interested to see what you guys thinking on this game. Now we get the W. We improve here. LSU go to 3-1. That's three straight wins since the Florida State win, a loss actually to start the season. So we get the dub in Tigerland, man. LSU comes up with the victory. So anyway, 34-31. And like I said, man, we got some things to clean up. We got a lot of stuff to clean up in this matchup. Shout out to Tulane Green Wave. Took care of business against Nichols. 36-7, they were able to win their game. Good to see Michael Pratt return. He was 18-23 for 190, 2 touchdowns and a pick in the contest. Tulane get the victory. But in terms of LSU, man, the W. We get the W and we get the boot. And we give the Arkansas Razorbacks the boot, at least for another year. So shout out to the fam. I'm Big Q recapping this game and this one. Please feel free to hit the like button, to hit the subscribe button, and feel free to share the show on your social media feed. We up in this thing, man. Let's go over some of the team statistics in the matchup. 26-25 in the first downs. LSU was 6 of 10 from third down versus 8 of 13 by Arkansas. 509 total offensive yards by LSU. I thought we were on our way to a rout, but then the secondary started failing. But 426 by Arkansas. 320 through the air by LSU versus 289 by Arkansas. The rushing attempt LSU was big, 189 versus 137. LSU averaged over 6 yards per attempt running the ball versus 137 by Arkansas with almost 4 yards on 37 attempts. So they made a go of it. What really killed Arkansas in the game, and you can see Coach Pittman, who's the head coach of Arkansas, was really upset by all the penalties and the false starts. But despite 11 penalties for 69 yards, Arkansas still remained in this game. It still remained in this game. LSU had 5 penalties for 51 yards, 2 turnovers by Arkansas. So 11 penalties for 69 yards plus 2 turnovers by Arkansas was still able to stay within this game. And they even had the time of possession, 34-22 in the matchup, and they were able to stay within 3. And LSU just barely gets out of there with the win. They improved 3-1, 2-0 in conference play as we get ready for Ole Miss, who got beat by Alabama. So we're gonna have a pissed off Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss running Rebel Club that we got to go up and go see and take care of business against. So anyway, let's go ahead on and hit some of the individual statistics in this matchup. Jaden Daniels, 20 of 29 for 324 touchdowns, 1 pick in the matchup. Started off slow for Jaden Daniels, but then picked it up in the second half. Too bad our defense, which was doing really good in the first half, didn't carry that on. A lot of that was secondary. Number 9, the player, just kept Luke Haas, just kept getting behind the defense. They act like he was invisible. 6 catches for 116, 2 touchdowns for Luke Haas, number 9, who was part of the false start issue, but he made it work on the field, helping them get touchdowns. And LSU just secondary wise didn't know how to defend them. They just let them run around and uncovered. Logan Diggs, man, had a wonderful game. 14 carries for 97 yards in the matchup, but they did a wonderful job. Logan Diggs ran and played really well for him. Brian Thomas had a big game, 5 catches for $133 and 2 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors had 8 catches for 130 and 2 touchdowns in the matchup as well. So both starting wide receivers were fantastic in the affair. They did a wonderful job. Major Burns, Greg Penn both had 12 tackles apiece. Whit Wheats had 9 tackles in the matchup as well. And LSU finished the game with 4 sacks in the game. You had a couple of interceptions by Andre Sams, who didn't really play a really good game. Sams missed several tackles in the game. Zay Alexander and those guys got turned around in the matchup. So despite all of that, Arkansas was still, so shout out to Arkansas that we were able to stay close. KJ Jefferson, 21 of 30, 1 for 289, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks in the game. Rashad Duberman, who's their top running back, had 15 carries for 78 yards. And Luke Haas, 6 catches for 116 and 2 touchdowns, kept Arkansas alive. So they did what they had to do. And plus, Jaheim Thomas, the top defensive player, finished with 13 tackles on the game. So, like I said, man, LSU in this one, man, were absolutely. At first they looked good, but then later on it just, I don't know. We're gonna have to figure something out with the secondary. Those guys, which is, I don't know, man. I know we got a lot of transfer guys back there, but the secondary has to improve. We're by all means, this is the 4th game of the season, so we got at least another week. This 4 games in a month worth of football, and we got to crystallize this defense, especially that secondary. We got to figure out the right combination of players back there. We got, like I said, we got Ole Miss coming up next. So we got to handle business against them. So what do you guys think? Chime in on the comment section. Let me know what you think about tonight's win, because listen, I mean, you got to give them credit for sticking in there. And of course, we kind of got out of there with our tail between our legs because Arkansas was pressing and LSU basically had to run out the clock and kick a field goal to get the game in hand, man. So 3 straight wins, you get them how you can get them. And we keep it moving. Now let's look at some of the next matchup here. We got Ole Miss. Like I said, they lost the first game against Alabama today. So they're gonna be upset about that. So this is gonna be an interesting matchup right here. We'll see if they'll drop. They're more than likely they'll drop, and whether LSU will rise in rankings and go as high as to get a little bit higher, maybe inside the top 10. All right. So anyway, Dart is going to be the guy. Of course, he didn't have a fantastic game. He leads them in passing and as well as rushing. 45 of 68 for 852 for 7 touchdowns in the pick. Malik Neighbors 24 catches versus Watkins. They received 15 catches for 209. As you can see, some of the stuff that's going on with them from their total yard perspective, giving up 526.7 yards in terms of their offense. Throwing the ball and running the ball, 349.7 is what they do through the air, and they rush at that thing 177 yards flat. Defense, they give up 350.3 yards per contest, 226.7 through the air, and 123.7 through the ground. LSU, total yards, 537 flat that they score, 344.3 through the air, and almost 193 yards through the ground. They ran really good tonight. They only allowed 338.3 yards through the defense, 207.7 through the air, which is not too bad, but tonight was really bad. And they allow 130.7 yards per game in terms of what they're doing, running the damn thing. So we got to fix all that. We got to get all that in gear. Like I said, you've seen what ended up happening with them they lost to Alabama today. So they're going to be upset as we got to travel up there to Oxford and take care of business against them. And it's always a difficult matchup when we travel to see Ole Miss, because they always have some type of interesting offense and stuff they're going through at, and they're not looking. They're going to be kind of upset because of the loss. So LSU is going to have to play a lot more disciplined game. They can't allow stuff to happen like they did in this matchup against Arkansas. We should have really just beat this team in the ground, but we barely sneak on out of there. So anyway, that's what we got tuned up. We got Ole Miss on the way, but shout out to Arkansas, because they played a very competitive game. Jefferson did his thing to keep it close, but ultimately LSU ekes out the win against the Arkansas Razorbacks as we get ready to take on Ole Miss next. All right, so with that being said, I'm gonna get out on this one. I appreciate you guys for chiming in. Please feel free to hit the like button and the subscribe button. Share the show on your social media feed, man. LSU improves to 3-1, 2-0 in conference play. We're lining up against the 3-1 Ole Miss Rebels going to Oxford next week. This is going to be another difficult challenge, man. And let's see if LSU can kind of crystallize on the defense and play more of a balanced game, man. We definitely need to do better than what the hell we did in this game, man. It was very frustrating seeing them giving up wide open, blown coverage plays, guys running around, not being covered. It was just really annoying in the back end of the game. It shouldn't have been as close as what it was. I can see Coach Kelly was kind of upset. You can see in his face that he was really kind of upset about how everything looked. And ultimately, you got to fix that, man. You got to fix that. You can't allow that type of stuff to happen on you in some of these games. So, man. But anyway, we'll see how it all looks going forward, fam. So listen, I'm gonna get out on that. Appreciate you guys being here, and I'm gonna holler at you on the next one, man. Y'all, and we'll get Mozzie on the other one, and we'll talk about more of it in the middle of the week. Much love, and go Tigers.